What am I looking for? Live. Hello? Anyone here? Me. I'm here. Yes. Anyone else here? I don't know yet. Am I coming through on the YouTubes? I don't see myself coming through on the YouTubes. Come on the YouTubes. Ah, you can see me on the YouTubes. Why can't I see me on the YouTubes?
Fine.
That's strange. I want to go off to my PC and make sure I can see myself on the YouTubes. Hello, everyone in the world. Welcome to my humble YouTube channel. Why can't I see myself? I want to see myself. Oh, there I am. Now I should be able to hear myself. Why can't I see myself? Yeah, there you go. You see, that's me. Haha! Right, welcome back. It's been a week or so. I've been away in Poland. Haven't you? Have you been away in Poland, Sarah?
I went to Poland.
Yeah, we all went to Poland. We went to Warsaw. It's a bit like Milton Keynes. Frankly, it's very flat. There's a lot of green spaces. Not like Milton Keynes, really. Went to Alv's wedding. Hello, Alv. If you're out there. She used to play. She doesn't play anymore. It's very sensible. But now we're back, and we can get on with some Secrets of Strixhaven. That's what it stands for.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Now, we just looked at the dual caster mage. Well, apparently I have now. And let's just crack on. Dual tactics. Put my glasses on. Deal 2 damage to target creature. Whatevs. Yes, flashback. See? What's flashback do? When this card enters your graveyard from anywhere, the first card will flashback in your graveyard, gains 2 mana. If you cast this card from your graveyard, exile it. I mean, flashback does suck. Mystical Teachings does have flashback, so I mean, it is possible that something might show up that has flashback, but it seems unuseful, unlikely. And really the only thing that makes Mystical Teachings trigger flashback is Space-Time Continuum. So it's all about that, really. As a mechanic on its own, it's just terrible. Oh, let's have Jumpstart back again, please. Mr. Webcore. Eager Glyph Mage. When this creature, this 9 mana 3/3, enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 with flying. Okay. Echo Casting Symposium. Yes, we've already been over this one. This is the blue Paradigm card, which I have. There's an alt art version of that. There's a foil alt art version of that. Might be worth looking out for, I suppose, if you've got lots of crystals and not many jewels. The alt art version of some of these cards. Efflorescence. Efflorescence. Yes, I said that right. Target creature you control gets +2/+2. Then Infusion. That creature gains trample and prevent damage until the beginning of your next turn. Right. Not interested in that. Don't even much like the art there. That doesn't look like... That art looks pretty terrible, doesn't it? That looks to me like a piss poor JPEG. I bet the original art doesn't look like that on the actual card, surely. Yeah, look at this character down here. It just looks really poor quality, the art up there, but you know. Eganjo Dynastorian. This is a replenish. Oh, I think I saw Goz playing with this a little while ago. So we've got a 10 mana 2/6. When your second creature attacks, this creature becomes prepared. Well, obviously I don't like that very much because it won't do itself, will it? It's not coming into play prepared. And you need multiple... I mean, I suppose... Alright, okay. I suppose if you played a creature last turn, and then you play this creature on this turn, then... Because this has got vigilance, the creature you played last turn will then be your second creature. So maybe that will make it trigger. Anyone excited about it? Not really, but you know, it's slightly better than having to wait for 2 creatures to attack, isn't it? But then you do a replenish. Now replenish has got to be good, hasn't it? Have we got replenish in the game? Can't remember if we've got replenish. Let's see if it looks familiar. Return all enchantment cards from all graveyards under your control. I mean, that's good. I don't think it does that in paper, does it? I think it just does your graveyard. I mean, it's really good in paper, don't get me wrong. It's a really good card in paper, but I don't think it puts all enchantment cards from everywhere into play under your control. Then your creatures get +X/+X. Wow, X is a number of enchantment cards you control, including their reinforcements. Okay, I mean that's obviously a really nice effect. But do we care? Do we care that this is tied to a creature that has to attack with your second creature in order to make it replenish? Yeah, when you can just play Raise the Dead. Anyway, what set's Raise the Dead from? Are we losing that? I bet we're losing that. We shouldn't be talking about Raise the Dead all the time. Because even though we can play it for the rest of the year, it's called Raise the Past as well, isn't it? It's not called Raise the Dead. Raise the... I've run into a problem here, haven't I? Because I've searched for something. Oh, I know what it is. It's mana cost. Right, there we go. Raise the Past is in Foundations. That's going, isn't it? I think Foundations was before Bloomborough. Yeah, so I'm just thinking after rotation we will have access to Space-Time Anomaly, which was in EOE. But my favourite thing to do with that is always to play Raise the Past at the moment. I'm going to have to think of something else to do with Space-Time Anomaly. I'm sure there will be something to do with Space-Time Anomaly post-rotation in 2027. But I suppose it's worth bearing in mind that we don't have just the put all of your creatures in play and automatically win card. Where were we? I got lost. We are on Iganjo Disnoy. Yeah, so really, like I say, that's a very powerful effect. Don't mind the +X/+X. But it's the having to attack with your second creature I don't particularly like. So I'm certainly not going to be chasing after it. It's a powerful card. It's a bit. I think it's going to, in practice, going to be a bit win more. So maybe the Timmies and the Johnnies will like it a bit. The Timmies more than the Johnnies, maybe. But don't come crying to me when Grist runs over you because you can't get it to work. Elemental Mascot. When you cast a spell, this creature has +1/+0. Turn the turn. Opus, draw a card. Yeah, not at all interesting. It's been a long time since we've cared about anything like this, isn't it? Probably since Wizard class was legal in Standard, to be honest. And of course now Wizard class has dropped into Legacy, and it's it's playable there. But we certainly don't play anything like this with Wizard class and Legacy when we've got Beacon Bolt, do we? Elite Interceptor. Rejoinder. The first opposing creature gets stumped to 1. When this creature enters a battlefield, this creature comes prepared. Okay. See, I don't like this. I don't like this thing, which is just... Okay, it casts a spell, but it just does it once when it comes into play. It just seems like... Seems like a load of extra text on the prepare for no very good reason. If all it's going to do is just trigger when it came into play, why doesn't it just say the first opposing creature gets stone counter 1 instead of this creature becomes prepared? Embrace the Paradox. Draw 3 cards, then the first land card in your hand gains 5 mana. Yeah, okay. I've been mastering that in the Commoners' Cup, and then I mastered it and I'll never play it again. Emeritus of Abundance. Oh boy, okay, this one's quite good. Here we go. So what have we got? We got 14 mana, 3/4 Vigilance. Not really interested in any of that. We like Vigilance better than obviously an actual defensive ability because we don't want her to die. So when this creature enters the battlefield, this creature becomes prepared. So then we cast a regrowth. So as soon as it enters the battlefield, pick one of the first 4 different cards from your graveyard, fetch that card, it gains full mana. So yes, that's quite good then. Obviously Grist is just going to be dropping this straight into play with her first ability. Don't have to cast the card. It's just when it enters the battlefield. So we don't care much about having a 3/4 body, but you know, it's just another way of getting lots and lots of value. Oh, is there a Gouter in my graveyard? Maybe I'll get that out. It's another way of getting lots and lots of value, or you know, attempt with discovery. And there will be other large things, I'm sure, to get in the future. But there's more. There's even more on this card. When this creature attacks, if there are 8 or more green gems on the board, this creature becomes prepared. That's not too unlikely, really, is it? Especially if you're playing with, you know, a bit of gem conversion. Which might not just be Gouter. It might be, you know, some nice gem conversion lands. Which, you know, we've still got clue lands, which people like to play. And maybe they'll make something that's that good by the time Standard rolls around. So what we've got here is that we've got an insta-mana filler giver here. You know, you're playing a card, it immediately fetches another card and plays it. You can't kick your loop off in Loop Hero with this. But that's okay, because Loop Hero only actually has about 4 or 5 cards that begin the loop, and the other ones continue the loop once you've got the loop started. So, you know, we don't mind having cards that of that second type. But this one also triggers quite a lot on later turns. Yeah? Because, as I say, not hard to get 8 green gems on the board. It's going to attack every turn. So you might just end up getting a very silly amount of value for this. I did chase this card out of the Elite Pack. I think it was last week's Elite Pack. And it seems to be very good to me. Can recommend. Obviously too good, in fact. Let's move on. Emeritus of Conflict. Yeah, not quite as good, this one. Lightning Bolt. Now, Lightning Bolt looked a bit weird when I first looked at it. An opposing Vanguard support loses 3 shield if it can't deal 3 damage to any creature. But apparently that's already a card we've got. Lightning Bolt is a card that exists in Jumpstart. It's just that, you know, because Jumpstart hardly ever shows up. It's easy to forget those cards exist. So it's not having a very big effect, really. 3 shield off a Vanguard, 3 damage to any target. And it's not even doing it particularly often. Look at this. When you cast your second card each turn, this creature becomes prepared. Not every 2 cards, no. Just your specifically second card on the turn, you get to deal 3 damage to something. Pretty weak compared to the Emeritus of Abundance, frankly. Emeritus of Ideation. Okay, this is quite good. So Ancestral Recall is a very iconic card in Paper, isn't it? Everyone knows what Ancestral Recall does. You pay 1 blue mana, you draw 3 cards. Excuse me, just having a drink there. Now, honestly, I think they could have done that in Magic Puzzle Quest. They could have given us Ancestral Recall. I would probably put that in a Legacy combo deck somewhere. It costs 1 mana, you draw 3 cards. That's fine. That's, you know, somewhere near the power level of, say, Pull from Tomorrow or Strategic Planning. Yeah. But instead they've given us quite a different card for Ancestral Recall. Here we go. Draw 3 cards. Those cards gain full mana. You can only cast 1 card named Ancestral Recall per turn. So 3 free cards when you play this, but only once in a turn. Now that's kind of key, to be perfectly honest, because we do not want to be playing this in our Loop Hero deck, do we? What we want to be doing with our Loop Hero deck is we want to be playing, you know, 3 or 4 or 6 or 7 or 9 or 12 Emeritus of Abundance, and each one fetching the next card, casting the next card in the deck. Whereas this one gives us a nice burst of power at the start. 3 cards, they all gain full mana. But if you're going loopy, 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 if you play a second one in a turn, you do not get another Ancestral Recall. So it's not really for that deck, is it? It's not really for combo decks. It's for playing and getting a big burst of power. 25 mana though, that is quite expensive. But of course you don't need to pay that. Yeah, when this creature enters the battlefield, this creature becomes prepared. So I think you want to cheat it into play, to be perfectly honest. I mean, on a power level, you're looking at something somewhere near Deploy the Gatewatch, aren't you? You know, very expensive card, 25 mana. 3 completely free cards off it. As I say, you're not doing loopy combo things, so you just want to kind of play it. I mean, one thing you might want to do with this, you might want to put it into play, and then you might want to copy it every single turn with an Echo Casting Symposium. That sounds quite good, doesn't it? But expensive. This is the thing. If your combo deck relies on you paying something for 18 mana and then playing something for 25 mana, that's all very expensive. And then finding other ways to cheat this into play. How are you cheating that into play? What are you cheating Emeritus of Ideation into play with? What, loot? I don't know. Loot? Cruel Claw? I mean, that's not great. I mean, that seems like going over the top for me. Once I've got a loot in play and I'm getting 1 free card every turn, that's kind of good enough for me, to be perfectly honest. Not for the Timmies out there, though, I'm sure. The Timmies will be wanting to do fun things with this. So, yeah, very powerful, very expensive. Yeah, I'm not chasing this in the same way that I was chasing the Emeritus of Abundance. It's in the same Elite pack, actually. It'll show up when it does. Oh, what have we got? When this creature attacks, exile the first 8 cards from your graveyard. This creature becomes prepared. Now, obviously, that is harder to re-prepare than the Emeritus of Abundance. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. I don't have this card yet, so I can't tell you. Do you have to exile 8 cards in order for it to become prepared? Could you exile, say, up to 8 cards and it still becomes prepared? That would be much better. If you have to exile specifically 8 cards, that seems quite hard. If you can just exile up to and including 8 cards, that would seem a lot better. If that number includes 0 cards, that's obviously really good, you know? If it just becomes prepared every time you attack. That does seem unlikely, doesn't it? That you can exile 0 cards, especially because it's using the old then clause, isn't it? Then this creature becomes prepared. So I have a funny feeling you're probably going to need to exile 8 cards. But we'll see. Like I say, I'm not really chasing it. But if you want it, go after it. It's certainly a bit powerful, isn't it? We don't mind 3 free cards. Emeritus of Truce. Here's the white one. Swords to Plowshares. Again, we've got this card in the game. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to that creature's power. So just having a creature that kills opposing creatures. Yeah, we don't really like giving the life away. But I suppose we like exiling things. That's worth looking at, but there's quite a lot on this card. When this creature enters the battlefield, your opponent creates a Silverquill Inkling token. So you're giving away a 1/1. That in itself might be a reason to play this card, because of course there are plenty. I say plenty, there's probably about 2. There are about 2 or 3 coalition events where you need to be killing your opponent's creatures. So you generally need to be giving your opponent's creatures. We're all using Stroke of Midnight at the moment for that, aren't we? Maybe? Or there's a Manifest Dread card you could be playing as well, I suppose. Those will be rotating out. So maybe this is the only way of giving your opponent a creature at the moment that won't be rotating out at the end of the year. So maybe we'll all start using this. However, that's not really what the design of the card is for. That's what we might end up using it for, but what it's for is this. At the end of your turn, if you control less creatures than your opponent, this creature becomes prepared. So if you give him, you'll play this, I get an Emeritus of Truce, he's now got a Silverquill Inkling token. We both have the same number of creatures, so the Swords to Plowshares is not going to trigger. It's not going to become prepared. But we don't really care, because the Silver Colloquially is only a 1/1. So then if he plays an extra creature, then you get to shoot his... Have we already talked about this? I feel like I haven't gone on about it for ages. I feel like we've already talked about this when it was in the Elite Pack. Then you get to shoot his creature. Yes, I'll have a hobnob. Thank you very much.
You can't. You're streaming.
Oh, I'm not allowed a hobnob because I'm streaming. That's terrible. So yeah, we've absolutely talked about this card before. Let's move on. I don't think we've talked about this one before. Emeritus of Woe. This was one of the spoiler cards. Not sure about this one, actually. So 13 mana, 5/4. And this one does a Demonic Tutor. Again, this is a card we've got. I think this is in Puzzle Masters 1, maybe. And it's not such a bad card. It's mostly useful for putting into Grist and going and fetching Gather the Packs. That's mostly what Demonic Tutor was about. Pick one of the first 4 different cards from your library that are not named Demonic Tutor. Fetch that card. That card gains X mana. You lose X life. X is the number of black gems. So you're fetching a card and you're putting mana in it, but you're not putting a lot of mana into it. You might only be putting about 7 mana into it. And in this day and age, you know, we like putting full mana into cards. We don't much like putting 7 mana into cards. So Demonic Tutor is not really a card that gets played a whole lot. So therefore, maybe a 13 mana 5/4 that plays Demonic Tutor is not going to be a card that gets played a whole lot as well. The re-prepared trigger on this card is pretty terrible, actually. If 4 or more creatures died this turn, really? I mean, really the easiest way to kill 4 or more creatures this turn is to, like, either kill everything in play. Well, that's no good, because Emeritus of Woe will die, so that's no good, is it? Well, you just kill all the creatures on one side of the table, but any one player is only going to have 3 creatures, aren't they? So that's not going to re-prepare the card. So what? You're going to be playing with a lot of, like, point removal, are you? And getting rid of 4 different creatures. It just seems like an awful lot. I can't see that happening a whole lot. So this seems like kind of a weak card to me. As I say, we're going and fetching a card, but we're not putting enough mana into it. The re-prepared trigger is pretty terrible. We don't like it. Emil, Vastlands Roma. Oh, activate 1. Here we go again. Create a Quandrix Fractal token. That is a 1/1. That creature gets +X/+X. Permanently, X is the number of differently named support cards you control. I mean, if you really want to, I think treasures have got different names, haven't they? Yeah, if you create gold tokens, they're all called gold token, aren't they? But if you create treasures, there are 4 different types and they've all got different names, haven't they? I mean, if you want to try that, if you want to build that deck, have fun. You know, well done. You've exploited the systems of the game there to make your Quandrix Fractal token, which spawned off an activate 1, a bit bigger than it might otherwise have been. Encouraging Aviator. At the beginning of combat, this creature becomes prepared. Okay. Yeah, target region is fine. We don't care about that. Worth mentioning, and I think I mentioned it during the last set review, though, that cards that prepare and they cast their spells, these do count as casting spells for objectives. Now, I was really hoping there was going to be something nice for Colours of Magic that would help me cast a lot of spells or cards, but spells, yeah, that costs 11 or more mana, and that doesn't seem to be the case. But Brisk, my man Fabrizio, Brisk Fabri out there, hello, he was using it on the 11 or less node on Colours of Magic. Not this card, but something that triggered a lot. And he said it was, yeah, it was a nice way to get an awful lot of cards cast very quickly. I don't really care though. The 11 or less node in Colours of Magic is so much easier than the 11 or more node. Don't really care about making that node easier for me to play. It's the 11 or more one that I really, really care about. Anyway, that's rather irrelevant to this card, which is crap. End of the hunt. Exile the first opposing creature with the greatest power. Not random, you'll notice. So immediately annoys me a bit less. You know, I'll be mastering this card in the Silver Jewel and then moving on from it. But yeah, 10 mana is way too much for a single point creature removal. Ennis, Debate Moderator, with a big hammer. When this creature enters the battlefield, exile a random other creature you control. That card gains the bind emblem. Oh dear. At the end of your turn, if you exiled a card this turn, this creature gets +1/+1. Right, that's too small, isn't it? At the beginning of your next turn, return the last creature card with a bind emblem from your exile into play under your control. A random other creature. I mean, yes. Maybe it's an emeritus of ideation that you go bring back. That'd be quite nice if you want to do that. But no, I don't. It's very, very flimsy having a 2 creature based combo and having one of the creatures be so bloody small. It's flimsy. Don't like it. Environmental Scientist. When this creature enters the battlefield, fetch the first land card from your library and don't put any mana in it. Rubbish. Erode. What have we got here? Destroy target creature. Okay, and there's some more. Oh dear. This is going to be like Path to Exile, isn't it? That creature's controller fetches the first land card from their library and moves it to the board under their control. I mean, this is awful, isn't it? Absolutely awful. Clearly what's going on here is in paper, this is going to be like a removal spell that is way too cheap to cast. And that's the downside. Fetching the land is the downside that lets them cast it. I'll bet I'm just going to go and have a look on my PC. Erode Secrets of Strixhaven. This is going to cost like 1 mana, I would have thought. Although I don't see why it's not just a Path to Exile. Ah, it's because it destroys a Planeswalker. Yes, it's 1 white mana in paper. Destroy target creature or Planeswalker. Its controller search the library for a basic land. For a basic land, puts it into play tapped, then shuffle. Okay, all right. There's but here they've translated this to a removal spell that costs 8. Well, we have plenty of removal spells that cost 8 already. Look, that wasn't a million miles away. That's basically a removal spell that cost 8. Yeah? Is it worth having this be 2 less mana so you can give your opponent an entirely free land? No. Do you want to do it to your own creatures to get a land out of your deck? No. It's bad. It's very, very bad. Essence Knit Scholar. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a Witherbone Pest. I believe that's a 1/1 that gains some life. The end of your turn, if a creature you control dies this turn, draw a card. Yeah, okay, there's some synergy there. Well done. Well done on the synergy. At the beginning of your turn, if this card is in your graveyard, interesting. Create 2 Silver Quill Inkling tokens. And it's rare. So, yes, I mean, I suppose you could do that. What do we get from that? When you cast a Space-Time Anomaly, you usually get about 6 or 7 copies. 129 life. I'm usually getting about 6 or 7 copies of a card in my graveyard with a Space-Time Anomaly. So I put 7 of these into my graveyard, and then I just leave them there. And then every turn, I get 14 1/1s. Is that Colours of Magic worthy? It seems a bit of a pain in the arse more than anything else, doesn't it? 14 1/1s every single turn, and they can't be blown up because they're in your graveyard, the Eternal Students. Obviously, the Silver Quill Inkling tokens can be blown up, but they come back every turn. But having to sit around waiting for 14 1/1s to spawn seems like a bit of a pain in the arse to me. That would seem to be the use for this card. I'd like something a bit more powerful myself. Exhibition Tidecaller. I suppose you can't have something... This is a problem, isn't it, with space-time anomaly, is that now cards have to be balanced around the fact that space-time anomaly exists, you know, so that then basically becomes the only use for them. Yeah? If you make a card that's really good when you just discard it, if you play Dak Faden and you just discard it from your hand, and it's really good when it's in your graveyard, well, it's going to be completely broken when Space-Time Anomaly jumps 7 of them in there, isn't it? Still, never mind. We've got Space-Time Anomaly. And that's not good enough for it. Exhibition Tidecaller. When you cast a spell card, destroy the top 3 cards of target player's library. Opens towards the top 7 cards of target player's library. It's a 0/2. Yes. Is anyone playing with this? No. Expressive Fire Dancer. When you cast a spell, the creature has +1/+1 until the end of turn. Opus, the creature gains double strike. Yeah, whatevs. Fields of Strife. I'm sure we've had one of these already. Didn't we have one of these? Yeah, there were some of these in the Elite packs, weren't there? Presumably there's only 5 of these because, of course, Strixhaven is a enemy colours plane, so we won't be getting the friendly colours. But yes, we've talked about this and how it's not as good as the Clue lands. Why it should cost 7. And we move on. Fix what's broken. Level 1. Okay. It's going to be bad, isn't it? Oh. Oh, I see what's coming. Okay, all right. You lose X life. We don't like it. Then return the last artifact card with base mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Well, clearly not powerful enough. 12 mana. Yeah, just not powerful enough. We're losing life. Why do we need to lose life? Now, this is the interesting bit that I wanted to talk about. At the end of your turn, if this card is in your hand, increase this card's level by 5. Do you see what they did there? Does anyone remember when I was doing the last set review for the last set and I was saying, well, level cards all suck? And maybe it wasn't the last set, maybe it was the start of this set review. I was saying level cards all suck, and one of the reasons they all suck...
It a lot.
Well, because they do. One of the reasons level cards all suck is because they go up 1 level at a time in your hand, which is rubbish. And I was saying, well, you just have them bump up a lot more than that. And look, they've done it. They've listened to me. Oh, I'm so happy. So this starts at level 1. And then at the end of your turn, it goes up to level 6. And then level 11 on the next turn. I mean, really, for a card that's just putting 1 single artifact card into play and making you lose life, it's not good enough, is it? But I like the fact that level cards aren't increasing their level by 1 all the time now. Let's have some more playable cards now, please. Now you've broken that initial barrier of having to level up once at a time. You know you don't have to do that. Let's now try and balance cards so that they're playable. Thank you. Flashback. I mean, with a name like Flashback, this is just going to be bad, isn't it? The first spell in your graveyard gains Flashback and Buried X. X is equal to that card's base mana cost. I can't even begin to imagine what a pain in the arse it would be trying to build a deck with this card and then, more importantly, trying to pilot it. What a waste of everybody's time. Flow State. This is pretty good in paper. Pick one of the first 4 cards in your library. If there are 2 or more spell cards in your graveyard, pick 2 of the first 4 cards in your library instead. Fetch these cards and put the others on the bottom of your library. Yeah, this should cost 2 mana, really. 8 mana is just way too much for this. That's all we've got to say about it, really. Follow the Lumerets. Pick one of the first 4 creature or land cards from your library. Fetch that card. Right, instead pick 2. It's looking very similar to this, isn't it? Pick 1 or pick 2, depending on a thing. Costing 8 mana. Rubbish. Foolish Fate. Destroy target creature. Look! Da-da. Do you see? 8. This is 8 mana and flash. Destroy target creature. But then give away something. But this, that was rare, that was. And this is uncommon. We can play this in the Silver Jewel, we can. 7 mana. That's less than 8 mana. I call your attention, members of the jury, to that fact. That is less than 8 mana. Right? And no downside on it. 7 mana, still got flash. Destroy target creature, and then a little extra bonus thing for infusion. Not a massive downside thing where you're giving away free lands. Which is not to say that Foolish Fate is any good. It's just, you know, your run-of-the-mill, bog-standard, very mediocre removal card that we don't play anymore now that we've got access to things like Demon Inferior and localized, is it called localized destruction? Yeah, I think it is, in Chaos Warp. But it's just calling attention to just how bad Erode is. Forum Necroscribe. I mean, they should definitely make that one of the titles you can have on your profile, shouldn't they? Forum Necroscribe. Somebody wants to be known as a Forum Necroscribe, I'm sure. Troll Warlock. Ward with a thing. Repartee. Return the first creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield under your control. Well, I don't think so. No, I mean, you could be playing with what's his name? Victor. Yeah? You like Victor, don't you, Sarah? Yeah, and he's like 5 mana, isn't it? This one's like 16 mana, and you still need to be targeting things. It occurs to me that there might be some repartee cards that that target things, but also maybe don't target things. I'm trying to think of a good example of what I'm talking about. I can't really think of a good example of one. Like something like Broker's Charm, maybe. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Because cards that just target things, we've already talked about this, they're terrible. They're a terrible way of making repartee work. But maybe there are some cards that also incidentally happen to target things. Oh, like, oh no, it's a spell card specific. I was going to say a Vanguard. That would be a thing that incidentally targets things. Like Wrenn and 6. I used to use Wrenn and 6 all the time for mana conversion. It was amazing at that. And then it used to also have this really crap pinging things for 1 point of damage ability. But that's got nothing to do with anything because it's not in standard and it's not a spell card. So we move on. Here's one of those rubbish lands. Fractal Anomaly. Create a Quandrix Fractal token. It's +X, X the number of cards in your hand. Yeah, I mean, that looks kind of mid-shit tiery, doesn't it? You get a 5/5 quite easily out of that for 10 mana. It's kind of mid-shit tiery. Fractal Mascot. Yeah, I've been mastering that in the Commoners' Cup. We move on. Fractal Tender. Oh, all the fractals are turning up in one place, apparently. At the end of your turn, if this creature was buffed this turn, which it might be because it has increment, create 3 Quandrix Fractal tokens. 3 Quandrix Fractal. Mid-shit tier, probably. Seems a bit mid-shit tiery. Probably. Yeah, definitely mid-shit tier. Fractalize. Your creatures get +X and gain the fractal subtype till end of turn. X is half the amount of blue gems on the board up to 10. Why half? That seems a bit mean, doesn't it? Does that mean it can get +10/+10 or it can get +5/+5? Does that mean it counts the blue gems up to 10? Or does it count the blue gems? Oh, I don't even care. Garrison Excavator. When this card leaves your graveyard, create 2 Lorehold Spirit tokens. Not interesting. Geometer's Arthropod. When you cast a card with level or stored mana, well, this better be good. Surveil 1. It is not good. Geometer's Arthropod. Here we go. Alt Arts. The green paradigm we've talked about, it really sucks compared to almost all the other paradigms. No, in fact, this is the worst one, isn't it? I think the red one's a bit funny, isn't it? Because it might get you a free card, or it just might get you absolutely nothing at all. But at least it does it every single turn. So, you know, it's going to average out getting you some stuff. This is the suckiest paradigm card. Glorious Decay. Destroy a random opposing artifact support, then deal 4 damage to target creature with flying. Absolute garbage. Goblin Glassrite. Prepare. Create a gold token. Oh, okay, so when it comes into play, create a gold token. Yeah, whatevs. Gorma, the Gullet. This is a masterpiece, and it's a big frog. Oh, it is a pest frog, in fact. When another non-token creature... Oh, we looked at this, didn't we? Yes, we've already looked at this. This creature has +4/+4. That's right. Something else has to die, and then... Yeah, that's right. When other creatures come into play, it gets a boost from this creature, but this creature has to make itself bigger with something else first. Too many hoops we don't like. Graduation Day. Repartee, your first creature gets +1/+1. Really crap. Grapple with Death. Destroy a random opposing non-token artifact card. Haven't we just had that? Then deal 4 damage to target creature with flying, whereas this one says then gain 5 life. Ugh! Grave Researcher. It doesn't look very grave to me. Prepare Reanimate. Now, what does Reanimate do? I mean, in paper, I think it costs like 1, doesn't it? Doesn't it cost 1 mana and it puts something from your graveyard into play, but you have to lose a load of life? Isn't that what Reanimate does? I'm going to go and have a look again. Reanimate. MTG. Yeah, it does. That's right. So it's an incredibly cheap spell. So this is kind of a terrible one to put on a prepare card, because I think what we're going to find when we click through to this is that it still does the thing where you lose life, but because the cost is no longer an issue, it doesn't really need that downside anymore. Yeah, see, it's exactly what it's doing. Return the first creature from the target graveyard to the battlefield under control. Then you lose X life. X is that creature's base cost. Yeah, it seems a bit expensive, really. It could do that without the loss of life, frankly. The beginning of your turn, Surveil 1. Then if you have 3 or more cards in your graveyard, this creature becomes prepared. Yeah, well, why do we care? Why do we care when we can just play with loot? Great Hall of the Biblioplex. Activate 1. What the hell's this? An animated thing. Token Haste. Oh, really? So we get a 2/4 and it's got prowess. But it dies at the end of the turn, and it's only an activate 1 anyway. At the beginning of your turn, convert 4 gems to your Planeswalker's colours. Then the first spell in your hand gains 3 mana. Well, we wouldn't mind that if it didn't cost 14 mana, but it does. Group Project. Create a Lorehold Spirit token. That's a 2/2. Nope. Growth Curve. Your first creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. That creature gets +X the number of spell cards you cast this turn. Right. +X permanently. No, I don't think we care about this in some kind of combo. You can see how a looping combo deck, this would be much bigger than one of those creatures we were talking about earlier that just gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Yeah, you can see how this would be better than that in some kind of loopy combo deck. But yeah, we don't actually need this for any loopy combo decks. So fuck it. Hardened Academic. That is one badass owl. I'm enjoying that owl, definitely. Do owls have talons like that? Surely not. Well, I mean, he's got arms and wings, hasn't he? That's just weird. It's just a weird looking motherfucker. When you discard a card, this creature gains a lifelink. Right, that's not very powerful. It's a 2/1, okay. When a card leaves your graveyard, this creature gets +1/+1. This effect can trigger up to 5 times per turn. Yeah, he's not actually doing it though. This is the thing, you know? When a card gets discarded, he gets lifelink, but he doesn't have lifelink. And when a card leaves your graveyard, he gets bigger, but he doesn't make cards leave your graveyard. He doesn't do either of those two things. So he is, in fact, a hasty 2/1. So if we're putting other cards in our deck to make him better, then I would suggest what you do instead is put good cards in your deck and don't put him in your deck. Harmonized Trio. Yeah, we like the art on this one. It's got like gem and the holograms. Is that right? I don't know. I'm an old person. My references are very out of date. Brainstorm is very much a staple of paper. In fact, Brainstorm was originally introduced in Ice Age as like a fixed version of Ancestral Recall. And it is a lot less powerful than Ancestral Recall, but also turned out to be incredibly problematic. What have we got? Draw 3 cards. At the beginning of your next turn, reduce the cost of each card in your hand by 3 until the end of your next turn. Okay, well this is going to live or die on when it gets prepared then. When this creature enters the battlefield, this creature gets stun counter 1. Right, well we don't like that very much, do we?
No.
And it doesn't have haste. So it's going to come into play. It's going to get stun counter 1, which isn't going to affect it straight away, of course, but it doesn't have haste, so it's not going to attack. So it's not going to prepare for 2 turns. When this creature attacks, this creature becomes prepared, then this creature gets stun counter 2. No, I mean, that's just terrible, isn't it? Just terrible, I'm afraid. Harsh Annotation. Destroy random creature again. White, the colour of chaos. Famously the colour of chaos. White's getting some random removal again. Destroy random creature that costs 9 or less. Its controller creates a Silver Quill Inkling token. I mean, you know, we are looking out for cards that give your opponent a creature. And I suppose this probably does, to be perfectly honest, because it doesn't say then, does it? You know? Destroy a random creature. Right, I'm going to assume when it says random creature that costs 9 or less, it only destroys one of Greg's. Because if it blows up your own creatures, then that's just fairly terrible, isn't it? But I'm just flagging this card up because I honestly don't know, post-rotation, how many cards we're going to have that give Greg creatures. I've just remembered the White Emeritus does it, so we'll throw this in the bin and forget about it forever. Heated Argument. Deal 6 damage to target creature. Exile the first 2 cards from your graveyard, then deal 2 damage to your opponent for 14 mana? Get stuffed. What's going on there? It seems like, is that Pajami? But it looks like he's casting fiery things. I've lost track of what colour Ajani is now. He started off white, didn't he? And then he went white and red. And then he was white and green for a while. And now I think he's white again. I've absolutely lost colours. Maybe he is red. Maybe he can do like fiery things again now. But he doesn't look like he's just getting hit by fire, does he?
Maybe
No.
he's deflecting.
Maybe he's deflecting. Okay, fair enough. Maybe just Chandra shooting the fire at him and he's deflecting. Anyway, like the art, hate the card. Homesickness. I'm into this, I've got to say, I'm into this kind of comic booky style. We've had it on here, I've seen it on a couple of cards. Harmonized Trio look very similar. And I really don't mind it. The first 2 opposing creatures gain stun counter 1, then draw 2 cards. I mean, come on, they could have stun counter 4, yeah? That's all this card needs. Madwen would have wet his pants over this card if you'd made it stun counter 4. Even at 12 mana, he would have loved it. First 2 opposing creatures, get stun counter 4, then draw 2 cards. He would have been well into that. Not for stun counter 1 though. On a bound page, prepare. This is just when it comes into play. Target creature gets +1, +0, and flying. Right, we very much don't care about that. Hungry Graphalon. Right. Yeah, increment seems very wasted on just making a blocker bigger, doesn't it? Hydro Channeler. Oh, she's got a Klein bottle. Look, she's got a Klein bottle there. When this creature enters the battlefield or at the beginning of your turn, your first spell card gains 3 mana. No. I mean, we've had, haven't we? We've had a couple of cards, surely. I want to say one of the mono green version of Loot, like, cost 5 mana and just gave you 5 mana every turn. Let's have some more like that. I mean, I know that was rare, but like, yeah, let's have some more creatures like that. And less like this. Immoral Bargain. Okay, here we go. Masterpiece. Pretty groovy arc. I'm getting kind of a Doctor Doom thing off that. I know he doesn't have tusks, but that's what I'm getting off the green guy with the tusks there. Destroy all creatures. Right, well, already we don't like this, do we? Because firstly, we only like to destroy Greg's creatures. And then secondly, if we are destroying creatures, we'd really like some way of like them not going into the graveyard so that Gris can just get them all back again. So we're already on a hiding to nothing, but there is going to be more on this card. Here we go. Destroy all creatures, then destroy X opposing non-land cards. We have already seen this in the Elite Pack, and we have talked about it. And I've said all of these things about it before. So let's just move on. We don't like that card, I'm afraid. Imperious Ink Mage. When this creature enters the battlefield, surveil 2. Impractical Joke. What's going on here? I don't know. Deal 3 damage to target creature and 3 damage to opponent's planeswalker. Very rubbish. There is the red paradigm. Now, this wasn't in the one boost, the one Elite Pack that we looked at, wasn't it? That had 4 of them, but not this one. So I don't think we've actually talked about this one then, have we? This is the red one. You've got this one, Sarah.
It's the one that I can't make work.
It's the one that you can't make work. Yeah, apparently it's not working. Webcore, make it work. So we've got the Paradigm Effect. Exile the first card of your library. If that card costs 13 or less, fetch the card, it gains 4 mana. So if it costs 13 or, well, no, it costs more than 13, you get nothing. This is what I don't particularly like about this card. Even when you cast it, yeah, even the first time you cast it, you exile the first card of your library, and if it's expensive, you get literally nothing, and you've spent 16 mana to do that. You know? And like, I get it that like it triggers every single turn, and over the course of the game you're going to get a certain amount of cards. But like the white one, it's going to give you something every turn, provided you've got things in your graveyard. And the blue one, you know, a little less likely that you have something in play every turn than it is something in your graveyard. But better than this, anyway. I don't particularly like this one. Infirmary Healer. Stream of Life. Now, what's this doing? X life equals the number of green gems on the board. There's places in this game for cards that gain a shitload of life. And they can be quite bad, to be perfectly honest. I used to play with Scheming Fence many years ago, back when Teferi Hero of Dominaria was in Standard. I was playing Ral back then because Dak Faden didn't exist. And what the hell's that? I don't know. Probably Gmail. And Rel had a pretty low life total. So yeah, I was playing Scheming Fence, and I wouldn't have played it if I didn't have Ren and Six just converting the entire board full of gems very frequently. But it's a pretty bad card. But sometimes you just need to gain a bunch of life, you know? And you can't always be playing Dakon, who's very good at it. So, yeah, make some more cards and gain a lot of life. If there's stream of life, maybe if it cast it every single turn, how about that? We could have a card like that, couldn't we? But not just once. That's terrible. If you're interested, the card I'm using at the moment to gain a bunch of life in my coalition events is Healer of the Pride. And I'm not even generating a bunch of tokens. Like originally I put Healer of the Pride in the deck and I had my favourite Elspeth Vanguard in that was creating a load of 1/1s. But eventually I just figured out that like I can just put it in the deck, and the fact that, you know, I just play 1 or 2 creatures in a turn and that Greg also plays some creatures in a turn, that's good enough. Healer of the Pride is kind of bust. Informed Inkright. Repartee. Great 3 Silver Quill Inkling tokens. Yeah, this was spoiled. It's terrible. Inkling Mascot. This creature gains flying until end of turn for repartee. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Then Surveyor 1. Whatevs. Inkshape Demonstrator. Elephant Cleric. This is a very sassy Elephant Cleric, let's face it. But we don't mind that. Doesn't look very Loxodon-y, does he? To be perfectly honest. Maybe it's just very young. Maybe they're doing like, well, I mean, it is a bit Harry Potter, isn't it? There's definitely like a Starfleet Academy element to going to school in Strixhaven, isn't there? So, you know, whatevs. Drain 2 mana. Repartee. This creature gets +1/+1 and lifelink at the beginning of your next turn. Nope. Your first creature gets +2/+2 and gains first strike. Nope. Intermediate Chirography. Don't get excited about the mastery bar at the top of the screen there. This is just something I've been doing randomly during midweek events. At the beginning of your turn, create an Inkling token. So a 2/1. When another creature you control is buffed, this creature is +1/+1. So we're basically getting a 2/1 every turn. When you lose life or take damage, increase this card's level by 1. Okay. If this card's level is 3 or more, your creature's at +1/+1. I mean, it's an awful lot of text to be not putting in as much power as Thopter Spy Network into play, isn't it? And definitely not as much as Elspeth. So we don't like it. Jadzi, Steward of Fate. Oracle's Gift. When this creature enters the battlefield, this creature must prepared, then draw 2 cards. But don't put mana into it. We don't like it. At the beginning of your turn, if this creature has 3 or more reinforcements... Right, I mean, that's kind of hard to do, isn't it? The 3 or more reinforcements. So you're not going to get re-prepared every often. This puts a certain amount of power into play, and this is going to bump her up straight into high shit tier, I think. Yeah, so we get X fractal tokens. That's the number of blue gems on the board. Then all your fractal creatures get +Y/+Y. She's not fractal. No, obviously she's not. So essentially, you play this 2/4, and then you're probably going to get about a 14/14 in play. So, I mean, that definitely goes into high shit tier, doesn't it? But not much higher than that. Joined Researchers. Secret Rendezvous are not a bad card, is it? Now, Secret Rendezvous draws both players 3 cards, and then the cards that you draw all gain 4 mana. I mean, looking at it now, I'm like, why was I ever getting excited about 4 mana? But that's power creep for you, isn't it? You know, we kind of didn't used to mind that kind of stuff back then, but yeah, just drawing 3 cards and putting 4 mana into them is not very exciting. And this is not going to cast it straight away either. Let's have a look at this. So it doesn't come into play prepared. At the end of your turn, if you've cast 3 or more cards, oh dear me, No. No, 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 no. Killian's Confidence. Your first creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn, then draw a card. When you match 4, draw this card in your graveyard, turn this card from your graveyard to your hand. Right. I mean, yeah, we don't mind that. We don't mind this whole sentence about, you know, if you get a white or black match 4 swap, return it from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, it's a bit... Seems like a bit of a pain, doesn't it? Seems like it's going to fill your hand up with rubbish copies. Not this card. I'm not talking about this card, obviously. This card sucks. But you could put that clause on a better card, and that's the card I'm talking about. So I kind of don't mind the idea of, you know, I never mind the idea of, you know, cards that sprog back out of the graveyard. And doing it off a match is all right. But this specific card, I mean, who gives a shit about giving your first creature +1/+1 and then drawing a card? Nope. Kirol History Buff. Pack a Punch. Draw the top 1 card of your library. Target creature gets +2/+2 when a card leaves your graveyard. So that seems like it might trigger a whole lot, doesn't it? Target creature gets +2/+2. I mean, there's combo potential in there, but it seems like a bit of a pain in the arse to actually play, doesn't it? You know, you could fill up your graveyard with a Space-Time Anomaly. That's about 60 cards or so, isn't it? Now, and then all you need to do is to get rid of all of them, which I'm sure there's some way of doing. I can't think of one at the top of my hand. So that would trigger Pack a Punch 60 times. That's +120, +120. That would kill someone, wouldn't it? So, you know, there's some combo potential there. But, I mean, there are better combo decks out there at the moment. So, I mean, we've still got, for goodness sake, we've still got Pinnacle Emissary and Sharp-Eyed Rookie, haven't we? And nobody even cares about that anymore these days. So, yeah, you could combo this. And I'm sure somebody has somewhere. I think somebody might have posted a video about it, actually. But it seems a bit, you know, for a combo that kills you, seems a bit low power, doesn't it? And fiddly, more importantly. Landscape Painter. Prepare Vibrant Idea. So that is just, when it comes into play, draw 2 cards. I mean, who would think that a 14 mana 2/1 that draws 2 cards when it comes into play, who would think that that is balanced? Nobody would think that. And yet, somehow, Webcore, when they've made this card, because they've put prepared on it, they got a bit confused and they're like, oh, it does all these complicated things. No, it's very easy to evaluate. It's a 14 mana 2/1 that draws 2 cards. It's rubbish. Lecturing Scorn Mage. Look, once again, is it me or is this art incredibly low quality? I'm going to go and look that up online. Lecturing Scorn Mage. Excuse me. I wonder if they've zoomed in on the art. They have not zoomed in on the art that much. So is that the quality that the art is? No, that's a terrible scan, surely. Yeah. No, I'm looking at that higher quality on my computer monitor, I'm afraid. I don't like it, Webcore. We've not really seen this before with the terrible quality art of the cards. I'm sure I would have noticed it before now. I don't like it. Can I say how much I like her dress with all the nibs and things? That was quite fun, doesn't it? Repartee, this creature gets +1/+1 rubbish. Okay. Leech Collector. Bloodletting. What is this? Your opponent's Planeswalker loses 4 life. When you gain life for the first time each turn, this creature becomes prepared. I mean, go on, that can be mid-shit tier, I suppose. But, no, rubbish. Light Motif Composer. Now, do not fall into the same trap I did with this one. I was preparing a whole little spiel for this very review about Leitmotif Composer, about how it might potentially be the new Marvo, okay? Because it has a lot of things that look Marvo-like, okay? It's 8 mana. It's a little bit unblockable. Activate 3 blue, this creature gains unblockable until end of turn. I mean, that's not as unblockable as Marvo. Marvo just has Menace all the time, which makes him considerably more unblockable. And frankly, Marvo being at 1/8 and this being at 2/2, it does mean that this is more likely to get killed by things. And then it also does the Marvo thing of grabbing a card and putting some mana into it. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's Planeswalker, draw a card, then gain X mana. X is equal to this card's reinforcements times 8. So I'm looking at this card for the first time. I'm thinking, well, this is kind of okay, isn't it? This is a card you pay 8 mana for, and then every time it hits your opponent's Planeswalker, you draw a card and gain 8 mana. That's what I'm thinking. And then there's more on the end of that, because when you cast a spell card that costs 15 or more, you reinforce this creature. So when it becomes reinforced, obviously, then you're gaining 16 mana, and you're gaining 24 mana. Yeah, I can do maths, you know. And then, of course, there's nothing to stop you playing other copies of this card. So I went and got me a copy of this card, and then I realised what it actually does. It doesn't actually do that. If you just have one copy of this card in play that costs 8 mana, it has 0 reinforcements, which means when it hits your opponent, it's going to draw a card and gain 0 mana. It's not going to start gaining mana until it has actual extra reinforcements on top of it. And as such, it is considerably shitter than Marvo. So yes, I went and got this one. And it was a bit of a terrible waste of my jewels. And yes, if I've read the card properly, I would probably have noticed that. I get it. Who's got time to read all the cards? Library of Leng. Mind you, I'll tell you what though, when I was digging in deep into the pack to get my Leitmotif Composer that I'm very disappointed with, I did get this, and this looks kind of okay to me. Library of Leng, bit of a classic card in paper. Lets you just have as many cards in your hand as you like. Very different in Magic Puzzle Quest. 8 mana. When you discard a card, move that card to the top of your library, then you gain 10 mana. It's quite a lot, isn't it? This effect can trigger up to 5 times per turn. I mean, that seems pretty powerful to me. I'm not sure I would use it. I'm not sure how I feel about putting cards back on top of your deck, to be perfectly honest. I mean, one good way of discarding 5 cards would be time reversal, say. Yeah? And that would discard your 5 cards. I mean, you'd have to have 5 cards in your hand to discard. And then you draw a bunch more cards. And then, I mean, you get a bunch of mana with time reversal anyway, but this would just make sure that you absolutely cram your hand full of mana at the end of it, wouldn't you? But then one of the things I do really appreciate about time reversal is it gets rid of your hand and gets you a new hand. And this puts a big crimp on that, doesn't it? Every time you discard a card, it's going back on top of your deck. So I kind of don't know how I feel about this one, to be honest. Discarding and drawing, which is the kind of effect you're going to be taking advantage of. So, for example, Overlord of the Floodplates just discard and draw, doesn't it? You know, it's a pretty useful ability in Magic Puzzle Quest, and the fact that you're going to discard the card, immediately go back on top of your library, so you're not getting new things, just stops you from being able to dig into your library. Maybe, though, maybe the fact that this generates so much extra mana for you, maybe that makes it all worthwhile. I don't know. It's kind of a fun card. I probably won't get around to using it. But yeah, have a play with it. It might be okay. Living History. When this supports... Are they stealing things? Is this what's going? This looks like... What was the... That was Living History. And then back here we had Impractical Joke. Do you see? There seems like there's a bit of a heist thing going on here. Yeah? Bloody students running around nicking stuff. Where had we gone? Living History. When this support enters the board, create a 2/2. When a card leaves your graveyard, your first creature gets +2/0 until end of turn. Again, there's no limit on that, is there? So you might be able to just fill your graveyard up and then somehow get rid of everything. But I mean, that seems like a very, so we've got Living History here. We'd add Space-Time Anomaly. We have to add something to remove cards from your graveyard. That's already sounding like a very 3-card combo that requires you to have a creature in play. That, well, I mean, it gives you this Lorehold Spirit here, but it doesn't have haste, of course. 3-card combos seem a bit old tech, don't they? Luen, exchange student. Oh, are they in from Theros, maybe? Maybe that's what's going on there. Elf Druid. When this creature enters the battlefield... Oh, they're probably in from Lorwyn, actually, with the horns. Elves with the horns. Probably in from Lorwyn, to be perfectly honest. What are those adorable little disgusting bitey things he's got? I really don't know. 10 mana, 3/4. When this creature enters the battlefield, this creature becomes prepared. So pest. Oh, they are pests, apparently. That's what those will be. Witherbloom Pest. 1/1. This creature attacks, gain 2 life. So you just gain one single one of them. So it's a 3/4. You're gaining a 1/1 that gains a little bit of life. Activate 2 green or black. So it's better than activate 1, but not much. Exile a random creature from your graveyard, then convert a single gem to green. When a creature card is exiled from your graveyard, this creature becomes prepared. So you get another 1/1. Oh, there's a lot of complication on there for a card that's just, I mean, barely into mid-shit tier, isn't it? Lorehold Charm. Return the first artifact card with base mana cost 10 or less from your graveyard to your battlefield. Your creature get trample. Yeah, rubbish. Lorehold, the Historian. So Lorehold, Velomachus Lorehold was quite good, wasn't he? This doesn't seem like the same character though, does it? When you draw this card, reduce this card's cost by 8 until the end of your next turn. I mean, I don't really know how I feel about that. So you draw it and it costs 10, but if you can't put your hands on that 10 mana right away, it's going to zap its cost back up to 18. You know? Now, the impending cards from the Overlords from Duskmourn, they, really cram the mana cost right down. Overlord of the Flood Pits was like 3 when you drew it, and its cost went up by 3. So you were never really having that problem that, the cost was reduced, but you couldn't quite play it. You could always play it, let's face it. But this one seems like that cost reduction is just going to get away from you and not really achieve anything. Anyway, maybe it will. Maybe you can play this for 10. Is it any good for 10? At the beginning of your turn, reduce the cost of each spell card in your hand by 4 until end of turn. At the beginning of your opponent's turn, discard a card and draw a card. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't care about on that card. Lumaret's Favor. Target creature gets +2/+4. Infusion, target creature gets +2/+4. Okay, whatevs. Maelstrom Artisan. What have we got on Rocket Volley here? Destroy a block of 5/5 gems. And it just does that when it comes to play. It's a 10 mana 3/2 with haste. I mean, would you rather have that or Volcanic Rambler? Do you ever really play with Volcanic Rambler? Volcanic Rambler might have been quite a good uncommon in Origins, but does anyone play with it anymore? I don't think so. Mage Tower Referee. It's a weird looking thing. When you cast a multicolored spell, this creature gets +1/+1. We don't care about that. It is too small. Magma Blood Archaic. What is this now? Oh dear me, this has got converge. 16 mana, 2/2. Yeah, there's... You can see what's happened here, can't you? You know, they thought, oh, it needs to be crap because you're going to converge it and you're going to make it really big. But you're not, are you? When this creature ends the battlefield, it gets +X +X. X is equal to your converged mana. It doesn't mean converged mana at all, does it? It means the number of colours. It doesn't mean converged mana. So the maximum you're going to be able to give it is +5/+5. So a 60, would we care about a 16 mana 7/7 reach? Not really. Plus, you know, really realistically, your converge is probably only going to be able to put 3 different colours of mana into it before it tops out. It's really hard putting 5 different colours of mana into a converge card. So it's probably only going to be a 5/5 defender, and that, my friends, is putting it into mid-shit tier, isn't it? There's more, though. When you cast a spell card for the first time on your turn, your creatures get +X +0. X is equal to your converged mana. Okay, all right. So it attacks for a bit, and it attacks. All right, go on. You get to be in high mid-shit tier. Maybe you can be in low high shit tier. I don't even really care. But it's not a card that anyone cares about. Mana Sculpt. Drain 14 mana from the first card with mana in your opponent's hand. Right, we all know how bad mana drain is. Then if you control 2 wizard creatures, 2 or more wizard creatures, gain X mana. X is the amount of mana drain this way. Again, you've just got to ask, who's it for? Nobody. How are we doing for time, by the way? Is it late? Yeah, we're getting on for... Oh, look, I can just see a little mythic card peeping on the side of the screen there. Should we finish it after that one? Hang on a second. Masterful Flourish. There we go. So how many cards have we got left? We've got about 140 cards left to do. 70. Yeah, okay. We can split that into 2 times, can't we? Yeah, okay. So let's do these last 2 cards and then call it a night, I think. And I mean, obviously, this one we don't give a shit about. Target creature gets +1 +0 until the end of your turn. Then that creature gains prevent damage. Oh, okay, all right, prevent damage if you like, but it's not a card we want to play a whole lot of. So what have we got on here? This is a very weird one in paper. Mathemagics. This does like a XX thing, and it scales up weirdly. Let's see what the MTGPQ version does. At the beginning of your turn, if you have 3 or more cards in hand, increase this card's level by 1. Well, I'm going to assume it means 3 or more cards in hand and this card in hand as well. Increases card's level by 1. We don't like the 1. Draw X cards. Gain Y mana. X is this card's level, Y is this card's level ×3. Yeah, I mean, it just made that needlessly complicated, hasn't it? But it didn't need Y in there, really, did it? So what have we got? We draw it, it's level 1. We play it for 10, we draw 1 card, we gain 3 mana. If we hold off for a turn, we draw 2 cards, we gain 6 mana. And then pretty much anything beyond that, we're waiting too long. I mean, we don't mind, you know, drawing a bunch of cards and gaining 12 mana. But, I mean, who's got the patience to wait 4 turns for anything in this game when you can, you know, you can just throw out a... It's bad enough these days, isn't it? Waiting for a Mystical Teachings, yeah? You cast your Mystical Teachings, it doesn't even cast your space-time anomaly straight away. You've got to put an extra 3 mana into it. It's bad enough waiting that 1 extra turn to do that, isn't it? This card's saying to you, well, if you're in order to wait for this one to be good, you've got to wait about 4 turns. We don't like it. Let's call it a night for the night, I think. Thanks for being in. It is it Monday? I think it's Monday. Yeah, it is Monday. I'm going to the dentist tomorrow. Boo. It is Monday. We will get around to part 4. This is part 3. We'll get around to part 4 probably at the end of the week. Let's assume the end of the week.
Maybe not, because dentist.
Maybe not because well, that's true. I mean, if it turns out to be a very big job on tomorrow night, maybe I won't be able to do 2 hours worth of talking on Thursday or Friday night.
Oh, thank God, a bit of peace and quiet.
How dare you! So yes, that's when I'm kind of planning to do some streaming. But Sarah's indeed right. What with the dentist being there and everything, it might be another week or so before I get on to the next part. Gosh, I better be getting on this because these days we only get about 2 months, don't we, before the new set rolls around. All right, I'll see you all. I would assume the end of the week. Yeah, you'll take